Monday Night Football, it's over from Glendale, and the road team, Los Angeles Rams, got a win, and a season split with the Arizona Cardinals. Rams, who hadn't beaten a team over 500 since September, really played a very nice, tidy game on both sides of the ball. Arizona had some theatrics and some sort of maybe hope late. They got an onside kick, but ultimately never really had a shot to tie the game after that. Matthew Stafford, very efficient, 23 of 30, big numbers, 3 touchdowns. One of those to Cooper Kupp, who had 13 grabs for a $123. So he had more than half the catches, more than half the completions, almost half the yards, and a touchdown. He considers to just continues to amaze. Kyler Murray, 444 yards of total offense, but no touchdowns and 2 turnovers. Arizona falls to 10-3 and now out of the 1 position in the NFC. All right, Jonathan Jones, let's start with Arizona, who sort of was at home and had that number 1 seed. Do you feel differently about Arizona having watched this play in, play out for 60 minutes?
Not really. Kyler Murray, you look at that first half, he had the interception there at the goal line. This was a neck-and-neck game, and really, I thought the Arizona Cardinals played better in the first half. The Rams showed up, and this said more to me tonight about the Rams being a legitimate team for the first time really in a month. I didn't care that they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. 11 other teams have done it. It didn't really matter to me. What mattered to me was seeing the Rams do this against a quality opponent. The Cardinals have proven themselves to me. I don't know if they're going to go to the NFC title game. I need to see all of that as we get into January. The fact is they've proven themselves as a legitimate playoff contending team by virtue of going 7-0 on the road. So I kind of felt I knew who the Cardinals were. I needed to see something from the Rams tonight, and I saw it.
All right, and you saw it without having Jalen Ramsey.
That's right.
Were they more impressive on offense or defense, all things considered, the Rams?
I think all things considered, probably on defense. Darius Williams played a heck of a game, and he hadn't been playing at that level that we saw last season. But without Jalen Ramsey, going up against DeAndre Hopkins, okay, they gave up 1 there in the game, but outside of that, it was a fantastic ball game, I thought, by a Rams defense that has been out-physicaled throughout this season. You look at how San Francisco, how Detroit ran on the on the LA Rams. Well, the Cardinals weren't really able to do that. You look at it, and Kyler Murray had 61 yards. Kyler Murray's going to do that. They were able to bottle up James Conner, especially on a couple of 4th downs for 13 carries for just 31 yards. So I was impressed with the Rams' defense more than I was the offense that, hey, it should be clicking. Matthew Stafford should be hitting those deep passes, those play-action passes. It was this defense finally, for me, showing up for the first time in really about 5 weeks.
Yeah, I sort of looked at the Ram defense. The first 2 drives when we were watching the game, they were almost like a boxer that took a couple of square ones on the jaw in the first round. You were like, okay, this could be a short fight if they don't make an adjustment. And they did. And they steadied and they played well. Now, this was a bend-don't-break performance. They gave up 444 yards to Kyler Murray individually.
Yep.
He was their leading rusher. He threw the ball for 380-plus yards. But was Kyler Murray – give me a grade for Kyler Murray tonight.
B-. He had the yards. He was putting his team in good positions, but the costly turnover there at the goal line there early on, the fact that they couldn't get the football into the end zone. And then, frankly, the final play of the game, that has to be a spike from Kyler Murray. Now, I don't think that they were going to actually get in the position to tie the football game. It was going to be probably the longest Hail Mary of the NFL season if they could even get in that position. James Conner, very banged up, very injured. He did not need to be in there blocking. Kyler Murray at the end got into the gun and then tried to attempt to play. It didn't appear that his offensive lineman knew that he was going to do it. It would have been a very unconventional spike out of the shotgun. I understand that. So Kyler Murray made some mistakes, kept the team in the ballgame. He was the best player that was wearing Arizona Cardinal red out there tonight. So I can't ding him too much, but he has been playing at an MVP-like level. He came into this game 73% completion rate. He was throwing the football around the yard. He led the league in passer rating. And so I wanted to see a little bit more out of him. That ball got tipped at the line. He's a short quarterback. He has to know that he has to get the football over the defensive line. He missed a couple of deep throws that we just saw right there, but he also made some throws, no question about it. So I think a B-. That's not being a tough grader. I think that's being a fair grader.
He gave you a half a dozen wow plays and a half a dozen what plays. I would actually say I thought James Conner was the best player wearing Arizona red tonight. He made some great catches.
He did.
He had 9 targets. He caught all 9 of them. He had 125 yards, 2 touchdowns, and on one of them, he was just not going to be denied and fell to the end zone. He's been an unbelievable story, sort of kind of out of nowhere with all these touchdowns. Speaking of unbelievable stories, Cooper Kupp. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's getting silly. So Cooper Kupp is, go ahead, fill in the blank.
He is going to be the next Triple Crown winner in the NFL. Triple Crown is receiving receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. Today, 13 receptions on 15 targets for 123 and a touchdown. We've only seen 3 other Triple Crown winners. It was Jerry Rice, it was Sterling Sharp, and it was Steve Smith in 2005. We're going to see it from Kupp this year. Tyreek Hill isn't going to catch him in the touchdowns. No, Justin Jefferson isn't going to catch him in the yards because it doesn't matter that Robert Woods goes out with an ACL. It doesn't matter that Odell Beckham is starting to take receptions and targets away as he comes along. And by the way, Odell Beckham Jr. looked very, very good tonight. It was a vintage Odell Beckham Jr. game. The way that he was running with the football after the catch, making some very headsy plays, running out of bounds and backward there toward the end of the game. But this is about Cooper Kupp. This is about a guy that I would peg as the offensive player of the year, really, as long as he has an average final 4 games to finish out this season. He will be the offensive player of the year. Cooper Kupp is going to be the latest Triple Crown winner in the NFL.
I'll go with Cooper Kupp is the single best fantasy pick you could have made for where he was drafted in your league. That was the best pick in your entire fantasy draft because he didn't go first or second overall. He didn't go in the first round. But wherever he went, he is the single best pick you could have made. Arizona's only lost at home, right? They haven't lost on the road, right? And at some point in time, they're going to win this division because even though the Rams are 1 game behind now, Arizona with the division record is going to have the tie break. And with 4 games left, Arizona plays at Detroit. And they play Indy and at Dallas, but they finish at home against Seattle. Yeah. Even if they win at Detroit and home against Seattle,
go 2-2. They're going to
be comfortable there.
Yep.
Who's a better bet to win the NFC? I don't think Arizona's going to be the 1 seed. So I think they're both going to probably have to play the same amount of games. Rams are probably going to have to go on the highway for all 3. Arizona probably going to play at home at least 1 of them, maybe 2 of them. Who's a better bet in your mind right now to win the NFC if I told you one of these 2 teams did?
If it has to be one of those 2 teams, it would be the Rams. And maybe it's recency bias, what we just saw, but I believe more in Sean McVay as a head football coach. I believe more in the Rams defense. I believe more in Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp and Odell Beckham Jr. So because of that, I would take the Rams. Really, it's not about the Cardinals getting one of those games at their home field. That doesn't matter. What matters really is getting that first round bye. And so it doesn't matter if you're the 2 seed or the 5 seed or the 6 seed to me. It truly doesn't. You'd love to play at home, but as we've seen with the Cardinals now this season, they have 3 losses. They've all been at home. They can go on the road. They can win football games. You want to be sitting at home on super duper wild card weekend in the NFL and enjoying everyone else having to play and add those 70 snaps to their body while you are sitting in your ice bath. So that's the point. And if that's the point for me, I don't care that the Rams will have to go on the road as the wild card, as the 5 seed, probably facing, maybe it's going to be Dallas. It very likely is going to be Dallas. I would like the Rams over the Cardinals there.
Ultimately, we have had questions about Kyler Murray and his ability and would he be able to, over a full season and through any kind of playoff run, stay healthy and durable. I saw him limp in a couple spots here
especially
tonight.
At the end of the game
Do
as
you
well.
like how they're using him and putting so much on him? I mean, you do have James Conner, but again, he had 444 yards of offense tonight. He was their leading rusher. Obviously, the passing, he threw for 380 yards. Didn't put it in the end zone, but man, did he put up a heap of yards. Any criticism of the game plan and how they use him, considering, he's not Josh Allen physically.
Right. You're worried about him long term, of course, right? You don't have a great deal of evidence that Kyler Murray at 5'10" is going to be able to sustain this and this sort of usage over the years. And so I'd be worried if I'm Steve Keim, if I am the owner of the Arizona Cardinals, if I'm the head coach who wants to sign a long-term contract there, about the future of Kyler Murray. What is this team going to look like with Kyler Murray in 2023 and 2024 when he is taking up 10% of the salary cap due to his mega contract that he will have earned? But right now, he's the reason on the football field that you're in a position as the 1, 2, or 3 seed. Right now, they are the 3 seed in the NFC. So you're going to have to do what you have to do. Would you prefer that James Conner takes the bulk of the carries in the backfield? Would you prefer that Kyler Murray doesn't have to scamper around back there and then be your leading rusher? Of course. But if that's what's going to keep you in football games against division rivals, is that's what's going to help you play in Wild Card Weekend at home, then that's what you just got to do.
Yeah, well, you want to make sure you avoid that 4 seed if you're Arizona. Top 3 seeds, 1 gets the bye, 2 and 3 are going to get that 6 and 7 in the NFC, who's not going to be the Rams. You almost feel like it's going to be the Rams and Dallas. Like they're on a collision.
It feels that way.
I'm not sure how I can end up with it not being the Rams and Dallas in the first round of that 4 or 5 game. It feels like that one's almost already locked in. Rams kind of almost solidified that 4 spot with their win tonight. But again, even though you see they're only 1 game behind the standings, it's essentially 2 because the Cardinals will have the tiebreak over the Rams because of division record. And again, they split the season series. All right, so that's where we are. And Kyler Murray, I mean, it's no surprise if he doesn't put it in the end zone, they don't win. They put it on him, right? I mean, he's the franchise guy. He's going to be their leading passer. Tonight he was their leading rusher. And if he can't get into the end zone by leg or by arm, their chances to win go down significantly.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.